Greetings and salutations. I hope everyone's having themselves a mighty fine day. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell down so the goes to 13 months series doesn't get you. And you can stay notified. This came up in a couple of comments and in a recent stream. So I actually want to clarify some things when it comes to the immortality contracts. I do think there's more that we need to learn, and we don't have the full context and scope of how the immortality contract works, how it was handed out, why it was handed out, and why certain people had extra stipulations in their contract. So I'm going to clarify a few things because I do think some people are misunderstanding a little bit. I apologize. I'm just going to be on camera today. Hope that's okay. And we'll start with the King of the Tower. His contract is unique. From my understanding, when they cleared the 100th floor, he was the first one to make contact with the administrator. At this point, it's possible he was the leader of the group and seen as like the one who was carrying these irregulars and whatnot. And thus, in his contract of immortality that grants him eternal life, there's an extra tidbit there in the fine print, if you will. Inhabitants of the tower cannot attack or harm you. I believe that this is quite literally something that if I didn't like Zahard and I was in the tower and I hated him, I couldn't even physically attack him because the laws of the tower, the way that things work, would not give me that ability. It somewhat reminds me of Data Machine a little bit on the data floor and the hidden floor. But I do think that only irregulars can even attack the King of the Tower, Zahard. If you were born in the tower, if you're Caliban, whatever, it doesn't matter. You can't even attack him. You can't even send a beam in his direction. It literally will not work. That's my belief. When it comes to the rest of the 10 Great Warriors, excluding Hendo, Hendo has immortality or eternal life, but his is different. It works differently. For some reason or another, the administrator did not want to give him that power, but he begged and pleaded for it. So the administrator said, if you sire children and curse them to have a short life, the extra years of that lifespan they're supposed to have will go to you. Kunadewan is the one who bangs the most chicks, right? But Blood Matter has the most children, and people of the Hendo Blood Matter family live short lives. So let's say you were supposed to live 600 years, you'd probably live 100, and Hendo would get those extra 500 years added to his total lifespan, like base number, which could be 100 million and 65 years. So he's immortal through that way. I'm not sure, but anyway, we'll leave that there, so it's not to confuse anybody. Yeon Hannah added something with some like I can't fall in love, but that's not. I don't know if that's related to immortality, but that was the stipulation in her contract. Now, for everyone else, how does it work? My understanding is, I don't know if they have true immortality. What does true immortality mean? You cannot die under any circumstance. I do not believe they have that. Vampires are immortal, but if vampires go into sunlight, they burn and die, else it's twilight. If you stake one in the heart, they die. The original vampires from the Vampire Diary series were special, so you had to make a stake out of the white oak tree because I believe the spell that made them vampires was somewhat tied to that area or tree. You stick them in the heart with that, you can get rid of them. So they do not die, but there are very specific ways you can kill them. Immortality has worked in other ways where you cannot be killed by a sickness or maybe general human means by like a stab or a bullet wound or something. But let's say, oh, your one weakness is to be thrown into the sun. You throw into the sun and you die. Then there's like people like Wolverine. Wolverine's healing factor, like Deadpool's healing factor, are so great that they're nigh immortal. Like they come across as immortal because they're almost impossible to take down, but they can still die. I think true immortality means literally if you're an eyeball and your entire body blows up, you're still alive as an eyeball. I also think that for immortality, if I was going to have it, just personal, I want eternal youth with it, a healing factor, and I want a way out. That's just me. All right, so that's out the way now. So we understand that Jihad Zone has that stipulation, Blood Matter has a stipulation, and we've talked about what immortality means from true to like more falsified or not fully rounded and completed versions of immortality. So we're on the same page right now. Let's move on to Gustang and your Trauma Rays and your R.E.D Hans and Urek Mazino. Well, not Urek, of the other family heads, right? My understanding is that it works the same way as Jihad, so not like blood matter, but people who are born in the tower can attack them. We've already seen Yas, Ratcha, and Yama, certain characters attack Trauma Ray. It was futile, it didn't work, it was a meaningless attack, but they can do it. Their autonomy of mind and body, if they want to send an attack at a family head, they're fully capable of doing that. It's just probably not a good idea. Unlike Jihad, you'd have to be someone like Enryu or Phantominum or Bam or who am I forgetting? Urek to even attack him. I think Bam's the only one who can kill Jihad, but that's a discussion for another video. I just want to talk about Trauma Ray like Gustang. I believe that it's possible maybe that Gustang and Trauma Ray can truly wound each other to the point of being on the brink of death. Maybe you can dismember them and maim them and split them apart, their body parts around the tower so they can't like access their power. I have a very, very specific headcanon in my brain that I believe there are parts in the tower that act like the outside of the tower where you could put a family head there. And I'm not entirely sure that if let's say that I was a MMA fighter, I was Izzy, style bender, and I'm athletic and I'm strong. I go into the tower. And let's say throughout me being in the tower as an irregular, I learn all these beams and flight and things of that nature. And then for some reason, I'm thrust outside the tower. I'm not an Axis, just an irregular. Do you keep those abilities outside the tower or do you lose them? I believe you lose them. I am willing to make the stipulation that maybe you keep your physical abilities. Maybe you can punch through concrete or something, but you can't shoot beams and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just spitballing here. The point is, I believe there's a way to maybe seal away or imprison a family head if you can't kill them. I'm starting to think that the stuff with Arlene and Enryu and the Thorn to slit the throat of the king in conjunction with the various parts of the Administrator Thorns that Bam has gotten, which has done very incredible things from a feat standpoint, might be the only way to truly get rid of these. And they did say, I want to use Bam to kill such and such. Right, Trauma Ray wants to use Bam for this, which means maybe they can never get rid of a family head, truly killing them themselves because of the contract. But there's ways around it with someone like Bam. So hopefully, let's recap real quick so we understand. Jihad, immortal, eternal life, but in tower habitants cannot attack him. Enryu, Urek, Bam, characters like those can attack them. Gustang as well. They're irregular. They're from outside the tower. Blood matter, not the same. But as long as he's clapping them cheeks and having children, he can sire and siphon a portion of their lifespan to add to his own, thus granting him a lesser version of their eternal life. When it comes to the 10 great warriors, because even Arlene couldn't kill herself, I believe it works similar to Jihad's, but they can be attacked by irregulars and regulars in the tower. That was my best way of explaining it. That was my understanding. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and have yourselves a mighty fine day. I'ma be out. Patreon gang, you already know what it is. I don't want to be eating ice soup. And you guys are the answer for me not eating ice soup. Shout out to the certified BAM lovers. That's the CBLs. But shout out to the Priests of Fire. That's the certified Brilliant lovers. Are they the real CBL? I don't know. They might be. But definitely got to give the hugest shout out to my tier 3 pledgers. The 5th Zen Gods. Shout out to Zyler Scotty, Zodiac Nemiko, Zachary Cooper, Urek Mazzino, Tino Brown, Tikos, Sonny Kathapali, Simi, Scobe, Revenant, Reese Dijon, Raft ZB, Maury, Lazy Dragon, Johnny Rogers, Irene Sharda, Triss, Childish Nujabes, Andrew, Allen, and Big Abdel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you. I'm moving on from ice soup to ice sandwiches. We on the come up. Yeah.